Hey students, so my name is Professor Andrew Martin, and I would like to first kind of introduce this class. So it's first humans, beyond the surface. So let's kind of start out with what a human is. Do y'all have ideas of what a human is already? Sure.
Humans are purely destructive and evil.
Okay, nice thought, good thought.
Very greedy, very shallow.
Okay. So, yes.
Primitive in technology and in their own body.
So, those are all great responses. And those are all responses that we have kind of come to figure out as a group. Well, the whole point of this course, those are kind of surface level views. And after my experiences, I would like to kind of teach you all about what humans kind of are and beyond the surface. So, quickly, humans are just like us. They're made of atoms and molecules, as is everything in the world and in the universe, right? Humans also live on the planet Earth, and kind of some fun facts about Earth: the gravity is a lot stronger, and the rain is not as dangerous. You won't hurt whenever you go out there. Well, as you did say though, they are very primitive creatures. They rely on things like cars. They use tools. They are very reliant on their other forms and not themselves to go places. Yes.
Can you give an example of this other form that they rely on?
Sure. So there is what's called a car, which is a form of motion. What it does is it gets you faster to places. Yes.
Are they unable to teleport?
They are unable to teleport. They have not evolved to that level yet. So they are very primitive, but these forms of motion are good enough for them and for their needs. So, kind of going beyond that now, I want to talk a little bit more about what else they rely on. They rely on something called clothing. What do y'all think clothing is? What would y'all think clothing does?
Is it protective material?
It is protective material. So, what it does, it kind of protects their organ systems. Since they are very basic organisms, what they need is some form of way to regulate their body temperature, because they cannot really do that well on their own. So what they use is what's called clothing. So it's protective material and also kind of helps regulate their very primitive-esque bodies. And then kind of going on about how basic creatures they are very reliant on sustenance from the environment, such as food, water, and air. Now kind of talk about what a human basically is, right? It's just a simple creature that lives on Earth. Now let's kind of talk about the kind of interesting aspects of what makes humans so special in this case. So let's kind of talk about a little bit kind of how they are destructive. Because y'all mentioned that they're destructive. They have an interesting creature called a dog though. And that's actually just right here. This is a dog. They are most caring towards these dogs.
What is a dog?
So basically a dog is essentially a godlike creature. They are basically worshipped by families, and they are a kind of node for families to kind of come together around. They're a very loved and passionate aspect of humanity. Yes.
What is a family? And also, how can humans be so compassionate towards this dog if they're all only hostile and aggressive?
That's the beauty of humans. That is the true beauty. They are not just hostile. They are not just hostile creatures. They have mixed emotions, and they have mixed kind of views of what is good and bad. And then you also mentioned what is a family. So a family is a simple collection of humans being a father, mother, and then a child. And that is what formulates a family from what I have found. On this, a kind of interesting concept is the idea of hive mind. So we have a hive mind as collective, so we want to do help on Earth, right? But Earth and humans are more individual in thought. So they kind of rely on being in groups to kind of help each other out and be individual. We all kind of are more evolved, so we don't really experience individuality. But humans, that's the biggest thing for them. Every single one is different. And I'm going to kind of give you kind of examples of what kind of makes these humans different. And I'll talk to you about my family in particular. So, I would like to meet, so I have Isabel, my lovely wife, who absolutely despised me. So that's just a hatred, right? She absolutely despised me, but she managed to stay with me just so our son Gulliver could have a good and happy life. And because of this, and in that kind of we see that humans aren't as self-centered as they thought, as we initially thought, right? And then over time, after a few days, I got to experience this camaraderie and feeling of love and hate, and basically people doing stuff beyond themselves. And that's kind of even more apparent with my son Gulliver, in which he absolutely despised me for not being a good father for him. I was never really there around. But he would not give up on me, and he always strived to have a father that was always there for him. And besides getting no benefit from it, he was still there for me and stayed with us. Although he did have some selfish actions, he was always there. And that's kind of what I want to tie in to the idea of family, right? Family is one of the biggest aspects of what makes humanity so beautiful. Family is a form of sharing compassion and overall just experiencing hate and despise, but also experiencing caring and just sharing nature. It's what humans makes them so beautiful in this world, and how, although they may be so destructive and hate and full of hatred, but they also believe in family. And that's why I believe humans are much more beyond the surface.